Present today, of course, myself, we're still away. Charles James, Miss Carla Neely is on. And I think representative of Councilman Antonio Glover is on. Did I hear that right?
Yes, I'm Michelle Lee. I'm his chief of staff.
All right. Welcome, Ms. Lee.
Thank you.
We're also joined by Mr. Luciano Diaz. He's our policy analyst, also the co-host for this presentation. I think Mr. Christian McNeil, our legislative liaison, is also on board. And we'll just proceed. Mr. Luciano will provide us some permit updates.
I also see that Mr. Charles has joined.
Okay. So we do have a quorum. Awesome. Thank you.
And beginning with permit updates, as a reminder, applications for the calendar year 2025 trespass towing licensing period will close next month on Monday, November the 4th. So please be sure to submit your application and all necessary documents in order to prevent any delays to the issuing of your permits. Feel free to reach out at towboard@baltimorecity.gov if you have any questions or concerns.
Okay. Yes, please do so. And we're looking to really get all the representation we need on the board. So the future of the tow board, we wanted to really be a group that can really make an impact on the industry and just overall policing and enforcement and compliance officers for the towing industry. We've posted the application for potential board members to fill out on the webpage. It's actually mayor.baltimorecity.gov/boards and commissions, board licensing towing services, and the application link is there. Members will submit their application. They'll undergo interviews. They'll go through a city council appointment if necessary. And you'll state why you want to be on the board. Each member will have to submit their financial disclosures with the ethics boards annually. So, we encourage, people that have a vested interest to really look into, joining, the group. Mr. Luciano will update us on some rules and regulations for review.
As per Article 15 of the City Code, the tow board consists of 7 members, which are reps from transportation, finance, police, and the city council. That is our quorum today. But additionally, we need a property management industry rep who contracts with trespass towers, a representative from the trespass towing industry, and a citizen at large, all of whom will be appointed by the mayor. We are going to work with the mayor's office to ensure that all of these positions are filled and remain filled through 2028, which is concurrent with the mayor's term in office.
We can get into any points of discussion. First, any questions from the members of the board or topics for discussion, and then we'll open it to the public. Okay. For members of the public that like to speak, just you can raise your hand, or I know this is WebEx, so it's a little different. So Mr. Diaz will kind of select you so that you're able to speak. Or I guess you can just unmute yourself and you have the floor.
So is Brian Phillips in the meeting, my partner?
I see him listed as being present in the meeting.
Okay. Sorry, my little delay. I was trying to log in on the WebEx.
It's quite all right. Did you want to voice a question or concern for the open discussion?
No, I just wanted to make sure he was in the meeting. Sorry, I had my granddaughter, so I'm at Chick-fil-A, so sorry for the distraction. My apologies. I can step out of the Chick-fil-A.
Understood.
Okay,
Okay, so
actually, I do have a question. This is my
please.
first time attending the meeting, so I'm not sure, how the meeting goes, what information is exchanged here. I came on because I know, Mr. Braxton, you should know my name well, because I know I'm a nuisance. I've sent you, this is Michelle Lee from
One
Council.
second, Miss Lee. 1 second, Miss Lee. I want to try to mute Mr. Timpson.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Lee. You can go on.
I was going to ask him for a milkshake. No, I'm happy to be able to put a name and a face with the name. I know I reach out to you often based on constituent concerns with towing and different things that go on through that are DOT type challenges. Thank you so much for Mr. Munson. I know we've been wearing him out. I met him a week ago, and I think I've emailed him every day, but he has been very responsive. He's been very, very helpful in terms of a lot of what we're going through involving Commodore Rogers and other things like that. Are you aware of what's happening with that?
Not specifically. I mean, the names doesn't ring a bell. I received so many,
So
requests similar. So please expound.
it's almost a war over there. What's happening is that the actual school has closed on Washington and Fayette in that area. And what happens is that the kids are now being moved. They're shipped every day out to Fate Avenue, like 5 miles away from where they would be. But what's happening is that on that Washington and Fayette, Chester area, when the buses are coming, you have people that are parked in the bus stops. And the principal sends myself as well as Mr. Munson emails every day, several of them, of people who are parked in said spaces. And they're trying to get people to come, like the ticketing agents, to come and ticket or even tow the vehicles, because what's happening is the parents are outraged because they're afraid that their children are going to be hit by cars. Because even though they have the signage there isn't really the enforcement that they're looking for. So that is a huge, we just had a breakfast with some of the parents earlier, and the principal spoke with us about that they really need enforcement there. There's also a vehicle that, I cannot remember the gentleman's name. Another member of your team ended up helping out with. There's a van that's been sitting forever, and it actually has tickets on it, and they're just, people put tickets on top of tickets. The vehicle has no plates, but it's still just sitting there. So I was like, wow, they threatened to tow my car from my parking pad, but this car sits on the street, so that's something else that they're complaining about from Commodore Rogers. So I didn't know if you knew, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because that's been a hot topic with us.
Okay. I'm not sure who Mr. Munson is.
Troy Munson?
No. No, I mean, I don't know who he is, but it sounds like this will be a separate issue, not necessarily for trespass towing. This sounds like an issue for our safety division group and the towing division group, which I can assist with as well. So whatever requests that are outstanding like that or unaddressed issues, you can send them to me just as the deputy director of operations, not necessarily the chair for the trespass towing.
Okay.
But I'll see to it that those issues are resolved. If certainly unacceptable for a vehicle to just continue to receive tickets that's apparently abandoned that needs to be removed. So that removal would ensue through our Baltimore City's towing division, but not necessarily the trespass towers that this board sort of oversees. But nonetheless,
Okay.
I'll see to it that is addressed. So you can just send those issues to me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Any other?
Okay,
Yep.
I'm on two different devices and I'm having a hard time here. I was trying to unmute on the other one, but it keeps muting me again. Yeah, except it's like there's like a half-second delay. I'm going to try again to unmute on the other device so I don't have this delay.
You're currently muted now.
Okay, does that work? Is that working? Great.
Yes, I think it's working through it. You have another. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Great. Okay. There. Look, I switched. It was easier for me to look at my computer, but now I'm on my phone. I am curious about the outcome of either of the two cases that I have recently sent for the board's review. One on Pilgrim, not on Pilgrim. I forget exactly where it was. Somewhere over closer to Belvedere Square, I think. But it was a resident who lives on Pilgrim Avenue, Mr. Stewart, and then other constituent issues on Kelway. One was a straight up illegal tow, as far as I can tell, where the trespass tower towed the vehicle, Mr. Stewart's vehicle, from the public right of way, which is totally illegal. And then on top of that, charged more than the legally allowable maximum tow. And then the ones on Kelway clearly demonstrated that the trespass towing company there was charging more than the legal maximum. And I haven't heard anything further about the outcome of addressing either of those towers' actions. I'm also still waiting. I sent you a follow-up email just a few minutes ago, Tavon, asking about the scheduled fees from the 2024 licenses.
Yeah, Councilman Dorsey, firstly, apologize for not being responsive in the interim, but your request hadn't gone on deaf ears. We actually submitted our response and evaluation to law. Mr. Steven Salisbury, he was supposed to reach out to you and talk to you specifically about those issues. Apparently, he has not. And I didn't want to ensue an hour dialogue before, Mr. Salisbury was to reach out to you as he had intended. But what I can do is just establish that meeting so that we can all just discuss those matters in detail, and you'll be surprised at our findings. But it was a unique situation, but it does require a bit of a legal interpretation, which is why I didn't want to, just outright send my formal response to you.
In which of those two cases are you speaking?
Both.
I guess if you don't feel like going into the specific legal finding, what is the nature of the legal question?
One in the case of I forget the street, but the case where you said or was alleged that the vehicle was on city right of way, but removed by a private tower.
Mm-hmm.
That that road that we thought was city right of way wasn't actually assigned as such. I think it is actually private property, and we have the designation documentation that sort of speaks to that. So that's where it gets a little murky.
Are there signs by the trespass towing company indicating that what by all appearances would reasonably be thought to be public right of way? Are there trespass tow prohibition signs there?
Yeah, it's actually a sign right on that corridor along the curb.
Do you have it locate? I can look it up here. I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to
Yeah.
have that more formal discussion with all the details and also Mr. Salisbury.
Okay. And what of the issue of the excessive fees being charged?
Yeah, so the fees again, he'll talk to you, but I think the Attorney General's opinion, interpretation of that kind of conflicts with your perspective about the fees being charged.
No, my opinion is directly the exact same as the Attorney General's opinion. It took me a year and a half of follow up with the city law department to make sure that we had the written Attorney General's opinion that concurred specifically with the concern that I've raised.
Another point of contention, which is why we wanted to have the discussion with Mr. Salisbury. He was supposed to talk with you.
I'm unclear about this then because we've been through this like 4 times already. I don't understand.
Understood. I mean, which is the exact reason why we want to have that discussion with him. I'm not trying to, can we convene a meeting with Mr. Salisbury, you and I, tomorrow?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
And can you please send me those
You got
schedule
it.
of fees?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And last thing, when was this meeting scheduled and when was public notice given of this meeting?
Mr. Diaz.
Give me just a moment to double check, but we gave public notice of this last week and the agenda was published around 2 p.m. on Tuesday.
Great. And does the board have a listserv?
Not currently to our understanding, but we can definitely go ahead and set up a list of, I guess, interested participants and have recurring meeting reminders sent out.
Yeah, plenty of the city's other boards and commissions have listservs to notify subscribed and interested people of their upcoming hearings. I happened to find out about this on Twitter from a post that was made at the moment the meeting was beginning.
All right. We'll definitely take that feedback and I'll go ahead and start taking emails if anyone here is interested. Feel free to reach out at the tow board email and I can add you to a to a listserv and remind you of upcoming meetings. We expect our next meeting to be in December.
Great, thank you. Will that be before or after the new term begins? Do you have a date set for that? You don't?
We don't have a date yet, but we will probably meet the first week or two of December.
The new term begins the first Thursday after the first Monday in December. And my experience was always that in the past, the board convened after the beginning of that term.
Okay. The
Could you repeat that
first,
again? The first Thursday?
Yeah,
after the-
yeah. The city charter mandates exactly one city council meeting each year. All others are optional. And that one mandated city council meeting is always then every 4 years, the first meeting of the new term. And the way that the city charter designates it is that the city council shall meet on the first Thursday after the first Monday in December.
okay, that would be Thursday, the 5th.
That's
Is
correct.
the request here that we postpone it until after that Thursday to avoid that conflict?
It would probably be best because the city council term, the session actually ends on December 2nd and is actually out of session until the swearing in of the new council on December 5th.
All right, understood. Okay, we will look at the second meeting at the second week of December, which will be the week of the 9th.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right. Any other questions or concerns from the public? Okay. Hearing none, I do want to make a motion. I want to move that a closed meeting is held immediately after this meeting, this public meeting, to discuss a specific matter request from a trespass toward perspective. So we're seeking a second motion, of course, but we also need the public's agreement to proceed with this closed meeting. So, any seeking the second motion from the board?
So moved.
Okay, second it. Okay. And is there any opposition from the public to have this closed meeting?
I have a question about the closed meeting.
Sure.
From what I can tell, there isn't even a quorum of the board present here. You have a representative from finance, you have a representative from DOT, and you have a representative from police. That's not even a quorum of the board.
It's my understanding, 3 members of the board for quorum?
It's a 7-member board.
We don't have even 7 members.
The structure of the board is 7 members. If you don't have them, I don't believe that the law that constitutes the board allows for business to be conducted without a statutory quorum, which would be 4.
Okay, we'll table that matter. I thought otherwise, but I will check and find out. I'll look through Robert's rules and our bylaws, but I was under the impression that it was 3.
Mr. Braxton, I just spoke to a member of law department to clarify, and it does seem unfortunately that we will need to have Councilman Glover present, as the board currently only has 4 members. So our closed meeting matters will have to be rescheduled. We'll work with those interested parties to have those separate meetings, which are not public in their nature, on another date.
Mike Brady just posted something in the message board.
No, we do need to have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mhm. No, I was just going to ask if there's a meeting where you specifically need Councilman Glover, can that be indicated, please? Because I know that he has meetings that are spread out at different times, which is why he asked me to sit in. But if it's a meeting where you specifically need just him, if you could let me know that, that would be helpful.
All right, understood.
Thank
We'll let
you.
you know this upcoming meeting. Again, will be a private meeting to discuss administrative matters which are not subject to the Open Meetings Act.
Okay,
And we will need Councilman Glover, so I'll follow up with your office to ensure.
thank
Right.
you.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. We will rectify these issues and we will table closed meeting indefinitely for now. And if that is all, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Well,
A second.
sorry to interrupt. I have a question. So, the service are on the trespassing license today, considering that we have been, this taken care of for. I just don't know. Do we have anything as far as whether we were going to vote on? You guys were going to vote on today or again?
Unfortunately, it will be another postponement. We've just realized that we don't have the quorum to make that vote, but we intend to do so very shortly. We will reach back out to you.
Can I raise a question? I'm sorry. Is
Councilman, you say something?
is the voting matter simply for the approval of drivers?
No.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Again, I move to adjourn this meeting. Do I get a second?
A second.
All right, people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll stop recording now.